Hello, everyone, and welcome to this class on targeted display advertising. First, we'll just give an overview of what is targeted display advertising. It's a type of digital marketing that targets potential customers based on a wide set of variables, such as demographics, online habits, and interests. They can be served on desktop, mobile, tablet, wherever your potential clients are, they could be served. And in this example is a perfect example of targeting me. I went on ESPN earlier, and it knows I look up a lot of different marketing things. So it served me an ad for a email marketing service called MailChimp. So these are ads targeted to me based on sites I've visited in the past. So we'll dive deeper into how display advertising works throughout this with a lot of different examples for you to give you a clear understanding of targeted display and how modern targeted display works. Yeah, the old model of targeted display was that publishers would have all this inventory on their site. You would buy the inventory for a certain amount of impressions, and you would serve that on specific publishers' sites. Modern targeted display works similar to it's an exchange. There's an ad exchange that works with the demand side platform, which is what advertisers and people buying the ads. If you're a business owner and you work directly with the DSPs, that's who you would be purchasing your ad inventory from and serving your ads on. A brand will have all of its audience data as it relates to strategy organized a lot of times in a DMP or a data management platform. A lot of times the DSPs actually offer that service for all the different types of targeting, for third-party targeting. But if you have your own data in your own audience, that's usually organized in a DMP or data management platform. So once the brand decides who it wants to target with a particular ad campaign, it will feed this information into the demand side platform, which these are all softwares. So think of it that way. A demand side platform, it's a bunch of different levers that you move to say, hey, I want to target this group, these interests, these different tactics. So you give it that info, you give it your ad creative, and then it connects to the SSP or the server side platform. The seller side platform. And the seller side platform offers various options to reach the desired audience at different prices. And the DSP will automatically determine what's the most appropriate purchase to reach the intended audience, based on the information for the campaign contained in the demand side platform at the best price. So when the brand via the DSP is happy with the price and the inventory and offered by the publisher via the seller side platform, and the exchange takes place and the ad is purchased and delivered. And these are based on pre-programmed maximum bid rates that you put within the DSP. So basically you say, hey, I want to target these people, and the most I'm willing to pay, per ad is this much, $10 CPM. So then you would be fighting the different DSPs, similar to paid search, where it's a bidding system. Some of the top DSPs are Centro Basis, the Trade Desk, which we're going to show a video from the Trade Desk here, InMarket, Xandr. There's a lot of different DSPs. And, if you're looking to, either for your business or if you're an agency work directly with a DSP to set up yourself. And basically what you do is you'll get a seat. So you'll basically be on the demand side platform side with a seat within their software where you control the levers of who you want to target, how much you want to spend, and then feed it through there, and then that would execute your campaign. And this all happens in the speed, in like light speed. So this, I know it's a lot to take in. Really, the main thing you have to know is on the advertiser side, or if you're a business owner, that the demand, you work through a demand side platform. That's what you interact with. And there's a lot that goes behind the scenes to fulfill your campaign based on the parameters you set. But all you really have to do is set those parameters, set your maximum bid rates, put it into motion, and this is what goes on behind the scenes. So this is just to give you a deeper understanding of how modern targeted display works. And I will also say that there is the DSP option, but there's also Google Ads you could serve display ads with. Now, you don't have as much targeting capabilities as you have with demand side platforms when serving the display ads through Google Ads, but that is an option for you, especially if you're maybe a smaller business, you want to dip your toes in at first, before really diving into the DSPs and the programmatic side. That's an option. And in general, Google does have some benefits as well. Just something to keep in mind. They're really good at driving clicks, and if you don't have too many targeting needs, Google could be an option as well for display ads to serve them across many websites. But just for you to get an understanding of the bidding system, how and I can't stress enough, we focus on the demand side platform side of things, which are basically software companies. Think about it this way. It's similar to when you want to serve paid search ads, you would use Google Ads. You want to serve targeted display ads and have all the features that a DSP or that software offers and targeting available. You would work with a DSP like the Trade Desk or Centro or InMarket or Xandr and a number of others. Moving into some of the targeting available for targeted display. And now that you see how that targeting works, let's go into some of the different targeting options. And another thing I'll show you here is that although targeted display is typically higher funnel and considered higher funnel, more for brand awareness and things like that, there are some mid and even dipping into the lower funnel of marketing with targeted display. So you have the higher funnel, you just general geo and demographic targeting. You want to get your message out there to your target audience of people 25 to 35 with an income level of 50,000 a year that own a home. That's just some general targeting. Then you have the category contextual and whitelist. So, contextual targeting or category, they're browsing websites already related to yours. So they're people that have been identified as having an interest in content related to what you offer. Then you move into keyword contextual. That's a little further down the funnel. It's people searching for terms related to your service. And then we move down a little more, geofencing, and we'll dive into geofencing where you target very specific areas. There's even event fencing where you just target people who cross through the event fence, which is basically if there's a home show, for example, and you just want to target that because your business offers related products to a home show, then you would just target during that exact time, just people looking on their phones during that time. And capturing an audience of people that cross through that event at that time and serve them ads later. So there's some different areas there. Then keyword search retargeting, similar to keyword contextual, where you retarget those people who have searched for related items. Site retargeting, you have clear intent there. There's people who have already went to your site. You track them and then send them ads later. And another aspect I'll note here as well is that with all these tactics, you also have frequency capping. So you're not hitting the same people 10 times a day. There's caps you could set, maybe 3 times a day is the most. And once someone's hit with your ads 3 times, then they don't get hit anymore that day or that week. So that's some different items you could do. Then there's, info from your CRM and third-party data targeting, where, you target specialized audience segments based on your audience and affinity audiences. And affinity audiences are just audiences similar to yours. So I know we covered a lot there. A lot of information to absorb, but display is a really powerful tool in your marketing tool belt. And, really important for just about any campaigns. Now, one thing I'll note is that the click-through rates, so targeted display is usually more geared towards impressions, getting your message out there, reaching your audience, having them see your brand, see your message in your ad. So usually, it's, a lot of times it's sold by impressions, and the click-through rates aren't nearly as high as paid search and other aspects of your marketing. But nonetheless, it's still very powerful, and the average click-through rate industry standard is 0.1%. So 0.1% of the impressions, people will click on them. So just something to keep in mind there, some benchmarks. Now we're going to move into some display targeting, based on, we talked earlier about personas and your target audience. Here we'll dive into some specific examples, and it's a way to show how you can, strategically use targeted display to target people in your target audience, but also to show a real life examples of how we would use personas and the target audiencing messaging and things like that we want to focus on, like how we would kind of ideate those themes. So here's an example of keyword contextual targeting. You have Beth, age 35, income level high. And I should point out that this example I'm giving was for a car dealer, a large car dealer. And I've changed the name of the car dealer to client and blocked off the name of the car dealer in the ads, just to keep it generic. So for this woman, her old Honda's having issues. She spent a lot of money on repairs, and she's not actively looking for a new vehicle, but she's searching to diagnose the issue with her current vehicle. So in this case, we're going to target websites that contain keywords related to vehicle repair. Because someone with this high of an income level, we show them a ad for that, for a car dealer on when they're looking up repairs. They may make the decision, even if they're not actively looking, you know what, maybe I will go to that dealer and get a new car. Why not? So that's an idea of why you would remarket to this group. So let me see here. So this campaign could deliver messaging for trade-ins or similar offers. And so here's the example. So what does the check engine light mean? and she goes to the site admin, which answers the question, what does check engine light mean? Don't just turn it off, fix the problem. And then the ad would be displayed there because they search for check engine, or check engine light, I mean. And then you would serve an ad with the messaging there, get the max for your trade in with our trade max guarantee here. So that's an example here of how powerful you could get. You're not just blanketing, throwing out display ads. You have a very specific strategy behind this display campaign. Another example is with contextual targeting. So many new parents will buy new and safer vehicles. So one thing we suggested was targeting new parents with contextual targeting to display ads on pages about newborns. So people who fall in this campaign can also be targeted with topic-specific messaging. So they look up, they're on sites related to caring for newborns. You serve the car ads there. And just like in the first example, they may not be actively looking, but they have it in their mind. They're looking at newborn related content. You know what? We're having a new baby. We should get a really safe car. So you can have the messaging about safe vehicles and, trade in your vehicle for a brand new, 5-star safety rated vehicle from our dealership. Another scenario is search retargeting. So in this case, we're looking at Lou, and these are all, like we said before, with personas, made up characterizations of some people in the target audience in real life, kind of case studies of why you would do this. And it helps when you walk through these people's shoes, it helps to put your strategy together, because there's nothing better in marketing than to put a solid strategy together than looking in the eyes of your customers. That's what this helps to do. And this ideation process really helps to make effective campaigns across all channels. So in this case, Lou hasn't owned a car yet, but has been searching online for a few options. Maybe he's lived in the city or takes the T into work. So he hasn't visited your site when conducting searches. So we can capture users to an audience when they search for terms related to your business. We can then serve that user your ads. So example. So Lou, in this case, conducted a few searches about buying his first car. Many of the searches were around lower priced cars. So after searching for cars, he went searching for pizza recommendations. So an ad for this particular client, this dealership, targeting lower priced vehicles appears in the site, maybe talking about their huge used inventory. So you see here, we're being very strategic in how we design these campaigns. So this helps us identify the targeting. And, in that last example, let's go back for a second. So, he's looking for a new car, and, he hasn't visited our site yet, but, that the reason we do this is to say, okay, that's going to be one of our audience segments. New car buyers searching for, making a car purchase, or, what to look for in a car. And then we serve them ads based on what they search for. So site retargeting, and this is a great tactic that I recommend with just about any display campaign. Usually when you do site retargeting, depending on the size of your site, a lot of times we have that as a smaller portion of the budget because, there's only so many people that land on your site, or especially a specific landing page. I mean, a lot of times we'll drill down into specific pages, but more often than not, it's the whole site. But people that visited your site within the parameters you're looking for, unless you have a huge site, a lot of times that's probably a smaller portion of your budget. So Sally here, age 28, income level 60,000 a year. currently has a 2007 Toyota Prius and has been actively looking for a new car. And she visited this company's site to browse the new hybrids. She wasn't ready to buy at that time, so she collected some info and left the site. So she knows the type of, the pain point here is that she knows the type of vehicle she wants, but has left the site and will need to bring her back. So on the user's initial visit, we could drop a unique pixel for the category of vehicle they were browsing. Then a hyper-targeted ad would follow them from site to site. So in this example, later in the evening, she visits BuzzFeed to read a few entertaining posts. And while reading a post completely unrelated to your business, she finds an ad for your company. She receives a hybrid-focused ad because the tracking pixel was dropped while she was viewing the hybrid category. So that's how much you could really drill down on these display campaigns. Whereas in the distant past, we mentioned where you would buy it directly from a publisher, you had limited options. You had, this amount of space, you buy it for this time. Now it's much more sophisticated with the, ad exchanges and the DSPs. So geofencing. I told you earlier we were going to dig into geofencing and give some examples there, and here we go. So in this case, Bert, our persona here, is age 55, income level 110,000, lives in the Greensburg, PA area, drives a certain car. He's been visiting a few different dealerships while trying to make a decision on a new vehicle, but he's not looking for a new vehicle online. So what we could do there is geofence the competitors' locations and serve ads to users who visit those locations. And you could even geofence when they're looking at if they cross through your dealership, because maybe they cross through and not everybody buys when they go through. They're kicking around the tires, thinking deep into it. A lot of times though, the competitor ones are really good, especially for auto. So after visiting a few dealerships on one day, he spends the rest of his evening setting up his fantasy football team. Then he finds a client displaying an ad targeting him to take a test drive. And this ad displayed because we geofenced the competitor's location that he visited. We can also target popular events where potential customers could be, which is, event fencing. So for the auto show, we could, we mentioned that we could target that. Another geofence location is to target users who drove by the locations. And this audience is valuable because these people have knowledge of the location. Now moving into another geofencing tactic, addressable geofencing. So in this case, we look at Tina, age 47, income level of 130,000. She purchased a new Ford Escape from a client a few years ago. And here we need to place ads in front of previous customers whose vehicles are a bit older. So we segment their list to pull users who have vehicles that are 5 or more years old, then use addressable geofencing to create a geofencer on each of those users' home addresses. So, since her household would fall into the previous customer campaign, her home address would be geofenced, and this would allow client ads to display for her and her husband on multiple channels, like displaying OTT or CTV, in addition to display. So, we're always thinking about how we can, merge the different tactics together. If we're using a client list for one campaign, we can also use that for programmatic video as well, especially since this client had a lot of great videos. So this was a overview of the different tactics you can use within the channel of targeted display marketing. It's a great, really multifaceted area of digital marketing that's, really grown in the capabilities over the past 10, 15 years, from those, basic pop-ups and the, random buckshot ads you would throw out there to really hyper targeted with, many different tactics that's a really great thing to have in your marketing mix. Like I said before, even if you have a marketing plan focused more on conversions in that lower funnel, there's a lot you can do with targeted display that even reaches into the mid or lower funnel that could work well with other tactics. And it's always good to have a mix of higher and lower funnel. So that's an overview of targeted display, and we look forward to the next session.